So hey guys, welcome back to my channel. The channel name is Fiction Star. This is the second part of the series. So, the series name is What If Madara Married Kushina? So let's start the video. The D-rank missions were just as horribly boring as what he believed. Missions my foot. They were chores. This only made him believe in his reforms even more. But the strange thing was that they were still debating whether or not to implement some of them in the council. After having caught the Fire Lord's cat for the 6th time, he simply did what he should have done in the first place. He simply used the Shadow Clone Jutsu and made 200 clones. Then he ordered them to finish as many available D-rank missions while he and his team trained and did teamwork exercises. Sakumo was not opposed to it one bit. He used to think reading reports all day was bad. I guess he forgot how dull these so-called missions were. The Hokage did not make matters easy though. He made it perfectly clear that Team Heikate was to be limited to 10 D-rank missions a day. The clones had been doing them so quickly that the other teams were left with nothing to do. The Jounin teachers felt that their teams would never meet the necessary mission completion requirement to move to higher rank missions. A few teams also felt if that happened they would be Genin teams till either they had been married or till Naruto was Jounin, whichever came first. Mikoto was still following Naruto's training schedule, and the thing was Koji was doing it too, not doing it in a good mood, as he used to complain to Naruto instead of to Sakumo. He called Naruto a slave driver every chance he got. Naruto simply ignored the comments from him. When he notices the results, let's see him complain anymore. Fugaku was the other problem. He was constantly trying to do two things: get Mikoto to give him the time of day, and get someone to try and kill Naruto. He was failing miserably at both. Mikoto was very happy to spend time with her training partner. If the way they acted they were teased something awful by Mikoto's new friends. The Toad Sennin had gotten finally a student, and after a daring rescue from the same student he got himself a girlfriend. Minato and Kushina had met truly at the academy, but the feelings and romance came after the attempted kidnapping of Kushina. Months later the couple was as in love as any couple could be, and they both shared a hobby: tease and torture Mikoto about her love interest Naruto. Look, you train together, eat together, and live under the same roof? When are you two just going to make it official and tie the knot already? Minato told her as Kushina and Mikoto were trying to have a nice lunch together. If Naruto had been there she knew that they would tease her calling it a double date. But surprisingly Naruto was also busy sometimes. Helping the research projects of one of the Sennin was busy work. Orochimaru, or as people would call him, the Slug Prince, was walking through the park one day and heard someone talking to himself. It had been Naruto, and he had tried his best to figure a way to cure the Sharingan blindness that came to the people of his clan after they awakened the Magenkyu Sharingan. If he made his theory and method to awake it public, there would be one clan of blind people before too long. He needed to find a cure. Orochimaru was surprised to hear a genin trying to figure something that had plagued the clan since they first became aware of the problem. He went to Naruto, who was too busy to notice. So you want to find a cure? How about they receive the eyes of the dead clan members? He had thought of that. No, that will not work. Even though they would be from the clan, there was always the risk of organ rejection. The only one I came up with was to clone the eyes of the person after they awaken them to that level. This would prevent rejection and loss of ability. Orochimaru had to tell him that was not such a bad idea. But our cloning techniques are not that advanced yet. So the pair came up with a plan to help him and tried to improve their cloning techniques to meet the required level. This was slowly being done by Orochimaru, allowing Naruto access to all his medical books, and advanced biology, chemistry and analysis books as well. With a small army of shadow clones Naruto was learning as fast as he could. He did not use that many of them to complete the 10D ranks that he did daily. Kagami was completely sure that Naruto would be an excellent successor to being clan head eventually. But Naruto had been quite clear. Mikoto was to be considered first. He would not have time with his own research and missions by then. When Tsunade heard the experiments being done to improve cloning, she jumped at the chance in helping them. The Snake Princess, as some called her, did not do this out for the public good. She did it because if she could clone herself in a young version of herself, then if she figured a way to transfer her mind to the clone, she would have what she wanted all along. She would obtain eternal youth. After all, who deserved to be young forever if not someone as beautiful as herself? Tsunade would get the genetic material for the experiments, and Orochimaru and Naruto would try various methods to improve the cloning and stimulate the growth of the clone tissue. But at some point Orochimaru took over the research alone. the council wanted the team lead by Tsukumo Heikate to take higher rank missions. Much as he wanted to continue the research, Naruto knew that he had to do what was best for his entire team, and not only his own clan. With a heavy heart he told Orochimaru, and he understood. His first C-rank mission was going to be assigned the next day. He wished him good luck to his research partner, and he wished him luck on the research. Maybe he could send reports, and he could try and think of any way to help when he had free time, if he had free time. The day finally came for Naruto and his team to take a C-rank mission. Hokage same team Heikate reporting for duty. As the Hokage looked up he saw the team. No need for formalities. I have a perfect C-rank mission for all of you. It is an escort mission. A businessman needs escort back to his home in Wave and is afraid that some business rivals will try and kill him. Could you please send Mr. Gato in? Hokage mentioned to his assistant through the intercom. As the young woman appeared she led a short, round man to the desk. I am happy to see you, Hokage. But where is the team that will escort me to my home? The Hokage simply told him that the teens and Jounin present were that team. Gato could hardly contain his laughter. Hokage, I have no doubts on someone of Jounin Tsukumo Heikate, but these kids are not even old enough to work in my company. How much protection can they provide? As soon as he said that the teens were upset, Naruto without even thinking vanished from sight, and appeared with a trench knife in hand behind Gato. He held the knife to his throat. I assume that is a good enough demonstration for you? Right, sir? Gato was sweating bullets. Well, I guess I was wrong. Sorry to underestimate you, young man. Naruto simply walked toward his teammates who were looking very happy. Team Heikate be at the gates in 30 minutes. Mr. Gato, you have nothing to worry about. My team does not fail. Tsukumo Heikate finished giving orders to his team and they all vanished using the body flicker technique. Gato was the last to speak. At the very least this trip will not be boring. As Team Heikate left with their client, something did not feel quite right about the job. Gato had spent a good deal telling them about his goals to open more trade routes between the land of Wave and the nearby lands. He did not believe that he should put, as he said, all his eggs in one basket. But as they walked, Naruto saw something that upset him. There was an eyesore on his path. He told Tsukumo and his teammates to stop. We haven't had rain in weeks in this part of Fire Country. I mean, look at the grass and you would see that. But we are supposed to believe that there is a puddle in the middle of the road? I mean, come on, how obvious can you be? The demon brothers did not like the sound of this one bit. Well, Naruto, I think if someone is dumb enough to make such a pathetic attempt, they must not be that strong. The Inuzuka could smell their sweat already a few feet away. Just as he finished, a clone of Mikoto appeared right next to the puddle. Lightning release. Paralysis strike jutsu. The lighting hit the puddle, and where there was a puddle, two unconscious ninja appeared. It was a lucky thing that they had been connected by a chain through their gauntlets. Naruto looked at Gato with an almost feral grin. So Gato, I think we should hear the truth while my clones tie up our expected guest, because I can easily see that they wanted you. We have no enemies in Kiri after all, especially those that are now missing Nin. Gato could not keep his lie any longer. It was very well known that you cannot lie to an Uchiha with his Dijutsu active. Very well, I requested a lower rank mission because of my low cash flow at the moment. My country of Wave has always depended on trade by boat, but in a bad storm many of the boats were damaged. I wanted to improve the trade routes and decided to form a partnership with a builder named Tazuna. I figured he would want the bridge to prevent others losing a family member because of having to go by boat in such a bad storm again. His son-in-law died in the storm I mentioned after all. He left a young woman named Tsunami, and a bright young son Inari, but it turns out Tazuna wants to use all my money to enrich himself, and take credit for the entire bridge project. He might believe that by doing this he would be made ruler of Wave eventually. The money I do not need to maintain my trade business I have invested in helping the people and the bridge project, so I figured if I was attacked, maybe I could get enough evidence to expose Tazuna and finally be able to complete the bridge. It would improve the lives of the entire country. I am sorry for lying to you, but please, I beg you, not for me but the innocent people, they need your help. I will pay the right rank fee once trade situation improves, I swear it. Tsukumo was listening to him, and figured that their situation must be desperate for them to do that. Naruto and Mikoto were looking at him with loathing in their eyes. To them the lie was a disrespectful act. The Inuzuka being the dumb gun-ho knucklehead that he was, looked at it as a potential good fight. So team, I want you to think on whether we continue or go back home for another team. This job just jumped from C rank to A. While you figure it out, Naruto, leave a clone with the team. You come with me and we will question our little friends back there. Naruto and Sakumo walked towards the Tide Demon Brothers. Very well, let's make it easy. Why did you attack our group? I know you wanted to kill our client. Who hired you? What are your orders? And who else should we expect? The Demon Brothers simply told the two to go to hell. They were not going to say a thing. Sakumo gave a look to Naruto that made it perfectly clear what he wanted him to do. Oh, why don't you got to hell first? Here, let me give a small taste, Tsukuyomi. In matter of seconds the brothers were spilling their guts about everything under the sun. They even told things that they did not want to know, like the fact that one of the brothers still wet his bed till he was 10 years old. Clone dispelled, and Sakumo and Naruto walked over to their team. So what do you decide? Go on or go back for another team? Naruto walked over to Mikoto, put an arm around her in a reassuring way. Looks like our team wants to help this guy out. Something about if we help trade would improve for our village, wanting a good fight, and such things. Well, I hope that we can deal with Zabuza, because that is what those two told us was in charge of the team that wants Gato dead. Every single person wondered for how long did Tazuna steal money from the project to be able to hire someone of his caliber? When Naruto and his team reached what looked like a small river, the one thing that made Naruto take up his sword was what he saw, a white rabbit in the middle of summer. Ah hell, that rabbit was raised indoors. Everyone look out, we are about to be attacked. Koji, being the idiot that he was, did not believe it. Sakumo looked at where Naruto was pointing at. He took his blade in hand, seeing that, and understanding what Naruto was saying. The attack happened and only Naruto and Sakumo were ready. They blocked the sword throw at them and it went flying back and got stuck on a tree. Sakumo Heikate. No wonder the Demon Brothers lost. Who would believe the fabled White Fang was guarding the midget old man? Gato did not like that one bit. Mikoto and Koji were sweating and could hardly breathe from the killer intent sent their way. Naruto and Sakumo were ready to attack. So the White Fang only has one true ninja and two wet behind the ears pretenders. Naruto simply would not stand for anyone calling Mikoto that. He threw a kunai and managed to hit Zabuza across his cheek. Was it something I said? Zabuza looked at Naruto. You don't insult my precious person and get away with it. Zabuza and a hidden Haku was laughing, noted. But shouldn't you worry about your useless client? A pair of water clones appeared to attack him and Sakumo. He quickly killed the attacking him. But that was a mistake. Water release. Water prison jutsu. The other clone used the water to trap Sakumo. He could not move. Zabuza took the position of the clone and kept Sakumo trapped. Well, here is the deal. If you defend your client you might keep him safe. But that will take time. In that time I will drown your teacher. Or you can let my clone kill your client, and I will let you all leave alive. Not a bad deal. Naruto was sick on this bandage-wearing freak. Here is a better deal. You leave now, and you might make it to a healer to save your sorry sick life. He quickly bit his thumb, and with the blood he summoned a friend, summoned jutsu. Lightning Fang. A big yellow wolf appeared. Let's get lunch, buddy boy, said the wolf. With one hand he made 5 shadow clones and ordered them to keep the client and team alive. He and the wolf attacked the clone and nearly shocking Zabuza. Well, the name was sure fitting to this particular wolf. Zabuza had to release the jutsu, and Sakumo was free. Zabuza had to give some credit to the boy. He did free his teacher and kept his client very well covered. Zabuza Momochi now had to deal with the worst possible situation. Not only he had a genin with a pretty sharp mind, Sakumo Heikate master of lightning jutsu, and a particularly upset lightning-loving wolf. The way that brat called those clones also managed to make him think that the situation could be worse. If he summoned 5 so quickly, he could summon a small army and a small army of what looked to be Uchiha. That was not something you come out of alive. Haku was hidden to provide backup, but till the count was 3 and possibly 13 versus 2, he needed a way to even the odds. Well, the only positive was that there was no way a genin could have awakened his Jujutsu. If he had, then it would be pretty sure be tough to beat. He could copy all his jutsu. But what were the chances of that happening? If Zabuza only knew, he would have been gone from there really quickly. Boss, do you mind if I get a first crack at the mummy wannabe? Sakumo laughed when he saw that Zabuza did not like his new nickname. Sure thing, Naruto, knock yourself out. Naruto looked like he won the grand prize at the Konoha lottery. Why don't we keep it up a notch was the first thought that came to him. He did a long series of hand signs and when he did the last Zabuza was not happy. Fire release. Great fire of annihilation. The next second a giant wall of fire was headed his way. Mikoto was smiling, one roasted missing nin coming up. It was only by the use of the water encampment that he made it out with only a few burns. Naruto realized he really needed more practice with that jutsu or have a clone use a wind jutsu to feed the flames. He really wanted to leave nothing but ash out of his enemy, much like he did for a few yards of woodland. Zabuza was now really worried. That brat can do jutsu of this level. A small Zabuza was praying, "Please, Kami, let this brat not have those eyes awakened, because if he did, I am toast." While he was thinking that, he did not notice that he indeed have what he was praying so hard not to happen. He looked at Naruto, and what he saw was a fully mature Sharingan. He believed that it must be a henge, a ploy to trick me. He began his own jutsu, but the genin copied his movements. The only thing was Naruto was just a little quicker and finished first. Water release. Twin Dragon Jutsu. Zabuza was hit by the full force of the jutsu, and when he hit the burn tree that was behind him, a pair of senbo hit his neck and he dropped to the ground. "Hey, thanks, I have been hunting that rogue for weeks. That distraction really was a blessing," said Haku appearing from the shadows. Sakumo walked up to the hunter nin. "So you are a hunter nin from Kirigakure. Be sure to send our regards to your Kage." The hunter nin smiled. "Well, if you excuse me, I must get rid of the body, and I will sure mention your aid to our Kage." The hunter nin picked up Zabuza and left. "Sakumo, may I say something?" Sakumo looked at Naruto and with a nod gave permission. "You know that hunter was a fake, right? And that more than likely we will have to face her and Zabuza in about a week?" Sakumo merely laughed. "Well, with those burns, I guess we need to get the client home and have a week to train." Gato was not sure why he mentioned the young masked person was not real. Mikoto said to him, "If the hunter nin was real, she would not have moved the body, she would destroy the body where it is." The senbo to the neck put him in a state of shock that simulates death, painful, but very easy to do if you have the practice. Looks like this mission keeps getting more and more interesting. Maybe they would manage to get some real practice out of it, the two Uchiha believed, but to the Inuzuka was just a major pain. As Naruto and the others came to see what wave looked like, they began to realize the trouble they would have. The place would make jutsu very easy for a Kiri missing nin. The rogue nin had an extremely large supply of water for his use. Gato simply led them on a tour of the town. To say that the team was taken back by the sheer poverty of the place would be like saying Jiraiya loved to peek at women bathing at the public hot springs. Gato decided to end the tour with a visit to his company offices, which also doubled as his home. As Gato went inside, the place looked a little too humble for such a big businessman should have. He simply explained that he spent most of his money to either make sure the business stayed open. His business provided a lot of jobs to the people. The other was what he called social improvements. He opened a school, a small medical clinic, and a small food storage for in case of disasters or shortages. "I would like to know why Tazuna is the way he is. Mind telling us, Mr. Gato?" Sakumo asked, wanting to know a little more background information. "Sure. But please, Gato is fine. I started this business a long time ago. Me and my wife worked to make it a success. My wife Tsumiya was the love of my life. But between work and my social improvement goals, I had very little time to spend with my wife. It was during one of my many attempts to keep the romance alive in our marriage that I made two discoveries. The first was that my wife was pregnant with our first child. The second was that Tazuna was trying to get my wife to have an affair with him. My wife was brutally raped by Tazuna one day. How our child survived inside my wife is a mystery, but she did. But Tazuna made her believe that my life would be endangered if she remained married to me. So using dirty tricks, Tazuna stole my wife and my daughter." Mikoto was not happy to hear that. If she ever found this Tazuna, she would want to teach him why you should not treat a young lady like that. Koji was thinking on how Naruto would react. He believed that he and Naruto would be pretty sure that Tazuna signed his own death warrant for doing that. "My love gave birth to a healthy baby girl which Tazuna named Tsunami, and later my daughter got married to a local fisherman, and they had a child named Inari. Fishing is a relative safe job, but on heavy storm season it is not. Tazuna is a builder. He knows next to nothing about the dangers of a boat, or the problems of a fishing boat to be specific. He forced Tsunami's husband to work non-stop, because he would provide no money towards the needs of the household. Between his heavy drinking, gambling, and money he wasted on building equipment he did not need or would use, he wasted all the money he ever made. During one bad storm, my son-in-law Tsunami's husband died trying to save the lives of the crew of his fishing boat. This was why I tried to find ways to improve trade, and came up with the idea of a bridge, something that the storms would not do much damage to. My commitment in this project even extended to ally myself with the one person I hated most, Tazuna. If I could put behind everything he did for the good of the people, why did he not do the same? Gato walked to a window and looked outside. The bridge should have been finished 5 months ago. I did not believe in the excuses Tazuna gave. I began to investigate the financial records of the project, and found that Tazuna was embezzling heavy amount of construction materials and money. When I saw this, it became clear. Tazuna wants to have sole credit for building the bridge. I can guess that if he steals enough money and materials, he could break up our partnership and finish the bridge with what he managed to steal by then. If the situation improved thanks to him alone, he could push to be made leader of Wave, and be granted opportunities to further increase his own wealth, at the expense of the people, of course. Naruto had one question nagging him. Why not tell your daughter about this? Gato looked sad as he heard the question. It was an obvious question, but the answer still managed to cause him pain. Gato simply smiled at the team that was keeping safe and helping him. Naruto, I can't tell her because all her life she was told that she was Tazuna's daughter. She would never believe that her father would be the cause for so many people suffering, and that he would eventually kill my beloved, when he was not able to conceive a child with her. I must expose him for the evil man that he is, or my child and grandchild will always be under his control. Tsukumo was thinking, and could come up with a plan. What we need to do is earn the trust of Tazuna, trick him into letting us into his home. There we could search for some hidden evidence. If we could get that evidence, then maybe, just maybe, we could stop his damage to the project and complete the mission with you being able to rejoin your daughter and grandchild. Gato did not know how. Tazuna's hired thugs would not miss the chance to inform him of them working with him. Thanks to the burns Naruto gave Zabuza, we have a little over 3 weeks. We can pretend to be Kiri missing Nin that are backup for Zabuza. During this time we train, and look for incriminating evidence. There should be plenty of time. As for the fake hunter, I don't think she would act without Zabuza. She more than likely will watch us to see what she can exploit. If Tazuna was willing to betray Tsunami's husband and the people, there might be evidence of him planning to betray Zabuza and the hunter. If that is the case, we can turn 2 enemies into allies. Naruto, Mikoto and Koji knew that if the plan worked they would be able to complete the mission, improve trade for the village, and maybe could offer positions to Zabuza and the hunter Nin. A chance to be able to live a life without being chased by Hunter Nin was something they would see to be to the liking of Zabuza. But they needed evidence, and time was against them. The idea was simple. The original mission was just to escort him to Wave, so they had the paperwork for that. They could simply leave Gato and walk around until they met Tazuna. Tsukumo could talk to him in a bar, pretend to be drinking too and pretend to be his friend. While being all friendly, he could ask if there was any good-paying jobs. Naruto was sure that once Tazuna saw their teacher's headband, he would want to hire him to do some of his dirty work, eliminate a rival, or spy on someone. True enough, Tazuna was so drunk that he could barely walk straight. That is when Tsukumo began his act. Well, life sure sucks. I am given an order just before my dang gone vacations to escort this cheap creep. I am going to be the laughingstock back home. Tazuna waddled his way where Tsukumo was drinking all alone. Hey, buddy, couldn't help hearing. What, you need a good-paying job? Tsukumo looked at him as if he was drunk. I need a good-paying job like we need stronger liquor. Tazuna saw his headband. He immediately was thinking, these stupid ninja are so easy to fool. Well, tell you what, I need someone to help me do some things. Keep my family safe from crooks. Help me build that bridge out there. You saw it, right? It will be the Great Tazuna Bridge when it's done. I might need someone to kill a trespasser that keeps begging me for money and his little whore. Tsukumo looked at his in what appeared to be a drunken stupor. Hey, man, you know I ain't going to remember all that after we get done drinking. Could you write us what you want done? Tazuna looked at him. Sure thing, no problem. I will write your team orders like I was your big shot back on your home. Tsukumo laughed. Well, at least you are more relaxed than the Hokage. Tazuna had bitten bait, hook, and all. Mikoto and Naruto had used the henge to look like a married couple, with a little boy as their son. Koji was stuck playing the son. Naruto simply was looking at the place and saw a pretty black-haired woman helping a little boy with the groceries. He walked behind them and picked a bag. Here, let me help you out. Tsunami was happy for the help. Thanks, mister. It gets tough carrying so much stuff by ourselves. He and the team helped carry the things to her home. If you don't mind me asking, why are you in town? They all entered the really nice house and sat at the living room. Oh, my wife and I are looking for work. I am a contractor. I help fix houses or build new ones, my little treasure. That is, my lovely wife is an excellent cook, an interior designer. My son usually keeps playing with the kid of the family we work for. This keeps the kids safe, and my boy busy. His little pup there is trained guard dog, that is Akamisu. Oh, I could always use a hand around this big house. And Dad is always in the lookout for someone to help with the bridge construction. It has a long way to go after all. Sorry, but I forgot to ask, what are your names? I am Tsunami, daughter of Tazuna the bridge builder. This little boy is my son Inari. Naruto smiled. Well, I am Naruto, and my lovely wife Mikoto. There is my son Koji and his little pup Akamisu. The little pup barked. I am sure glad to meet such nice people. Well, the best thing to do is to try and make a good impression on Dad. Mikoto, mind helping me with dinner? Naruto, I have a few cracked windows that need fixing. You mind doing that? And Koji, why don't you go outside and play with Inari? The team was situated to begin their work. Tazuna would be exposed within a couple of weeks. This place would be free of his evil. Mikoto really liked how Naruto talked about their pretend relationship. She wished that when she married she would have a nice, respectful, and loving husband like Naruto was pretending to be. Koji was not happy one bit. For 2 weeks he had to pretend to being a little kid. I guess the plan to train went out the window. Little did he know that they would still train. He taught him the shadow clone jutsu. Just like he had Mikoto, and the clones would train at night far away so that everyone did not see them. Mikoto and Naruto did the water walking exercise, and Koji was learning the tree walking exercise. Haku was spying, ordered by Zabuza to spy on the new people that lived at Tazuna's house. He did not trust them one bit. When Tazuna drunkenly managed to drag himself home, he was greeted by 2 adults, a kid and a puppy. Tsunami was waiting for her dad, and she helped him walk towards his bedroom. He completely ignored the people or his drinking buddy who went by the name Shinji. Sakumo saw that his team had managed their part of the plan. Tazuna, on the way to his bedroom, he simply could hardly walk straight, or so he tried to make it look like that. The sick bastard was instead doing his very best to grope and touch Tsunami in the most inappropriate way possible. She tried to keep him from doing that, but nothing she tried worked. Her father was not really her father after all. People always believed that her husband was the father of Inari. This was just a lie to hide the shameful and horrible truth. Tazuna, when he lived with his supposed daughter and her husband, did something awful. During one of her husband's fishing trips, he tied Tsunami to bed while she was asleep and he raped her. Inari was actually Tazuna's son. Tsunami continued to obey the evil man to protect her son. If she did not sleep with him, nothing would stop him from trying to do something to Inari. Deep down she wished that anyone would kill this bastard. But after years of waiting she had slowly began to lose hope. She hoped that the new family would be spared from Tazuna's evil clutches. The next morning Tazuna had both a hangover and a million Ryo smile. He was told what the family wanted to offer him as sort of work, and Tazuna, being the greedy bastard that he was, accepted. Mikoto was to work in the house helping Tsunami with the housework. Naruto would help the man in his construction of the bridge, and Koji would keep Inari out of trouble. The pay was meager, the hours horrible, and the attitude of their employer disgusting, but they had a mission to do. The first day on the job, Naruto was greeted by seeing half the construction crews pretty much giving Tazuna a very rude comment on to where he could place their dismissal forms and walked off. Tazuna was not happy, and when he was not happy he went drinking, leaving Naruto alone. The other half of the crew left too. Why stay and listen to the new guy? He was quick on realizing that visibility was horrible, so he made 200 shadow clones and had them do the work of the construction crews that left. He managed more in one day that the entire crews that had been there, Tazuna would never notice. He was too busy drinking and writing orders to his newest ninja henchman, Shinji. They included harassing businesses into giving Tazuna protection money, stealing materials to be stored for his own use, and making people that opposed him disappear. In truth, Sakumo went to the people he was supposed to kill, and told them to leave or their lives would be in danger. They left towards Konoha during the night. The food at the house had improved 100%. The place looked sparkling clean, and Inari was not causing any sort of rackets. Mikoto had found several papers detailing his future schemes, and a contract for Tazuna and Haku's life. He wrote in his journal that after they were no longer useful he could have them killed and collect the bounty that was on them instead. This was all copied and replacements for the documents were switched for the originals. This continued for 5 days until the fated meeting between Haku and Naruto, who was having a nap in the forest. It was his day off after all. Mikoto had given a copy of the papers dealing with Haku and Zabuza. They planned to make himself an obvious target by sleeping near where healing herbs grew. Naruto was pretending to take a nap when he felt Haku getting ready to stab him with a senbo. Boy, for such a nice girl you sure have mean ways to treat people, Naruto told Haku with his eyes closed. Mind telling me why you are trying to kill me now? She looked at him surprised. I remember you. You are the one with the hidden leaf jounin and the one who burned my master. Naruto opened his eyes and took the senbo from her hands. So Hunter Nin, it is nice I get to talk to you in private. She blushed at his comment. If you think Tazuna is going to pay you, then you are the one dreaming. I have some documents that your so-called master would find very interesting. I have all the evidence I need. But what I really need is for your master and you to testify against Tazuna in the city council. I will give you 2 weeks and 4 days. That is how long Mr. Mummy would need to heal, right? Haku took the documents and looked at him with a questioning look. What would keep me from taking these to Tazuna and exposing you? Naruto was walking away when he was heard saying, because you are smarter than that. True to his words, 3 weeks after their fight with Zabuza, he showed up on the bridge. Gato was doing an inspection on how much more materials were needed. With a heavy blast of mist the entire bridge was covered and nothing could be seen. Zabuza simply walked towards Naruto and whispers, Tsukuyomi, let's go. He did as Zabuza asked, and he found himself tied to a cross. So what do you offer for our help? You know I want that backstabber dead, right? So what can you offer me to go along with the plan? Naruto looked at him and smiled. I see you enjoyed my reading material. I offer you a place in the Konoha Ninja Corps. No more being hunted, able to earn a decent living, and you and your daughter. At least I think that Hunter Nin is your daughter. A rather good life, if not a whole lot better than what you have now. As the genjutsu was released he simply heard Zabuza say one word, deal. Tazuna was getting tired of waiting for Zabuza to kill Gato, so he screamed, Zabuza, you worthless sack of cow droppings, kill that midget already. Zabuza did not move an inch. Nah, I will speak with the city council, and tell them what you hired me for, not to mention deliver photos about what you've been doing to your daughter. Tazuna knew the jig was up. If the council saw those photos and heard his testimony, then he would be in prison for a long time. And everyone knows what would happen to him in prison. Good thing I hired these thugs to kill you. I will collect your bounty and get rich just like I planned. Shinji killed the worthless guy in the bandages. Well, Sakumo could hardly believe his luck. 100 bandits were hired by Tazuna. But out of nowhere the 100 bandits were seals in a giant dome of ice mirrors. A voice of a young woman was heard. Don't worry about these creeps. Leave them to me and capture the sicko. Tazuna was living his worst nightmare. Naruto, Mikoto, Koji and his dog on one side, and Zabuza and Sakumo on the other. He knew that escape was impossible, so he tried to do the only thing he could. Jump off the bridge instead of facing the music. Naruto threw a series of shuriken and pinned him to a column, like a butterfly fit for a collection. The original documents were delivered to the city council, and the materials that had been stolen were returned to the bridge. The council gave Tazuna a sentence of 350 years of hard labor in a maximum security prison. With the help of all the construction crews that ever quit or were fired, they finished the bridge. Gato got his family back. Tsunami and Inari hugged their misunderstood relative. Inari turns out was indeed the son of her husband after all. As the team, Zabuza and Haku following, he wondered what the bridge would be called. The council wanted to name it the Great Gato Bridge, but Gato mentioned that they finished it so quickly because of a single contractor. Naruto had done most of the work, and so he deserved to be recognized. The Great Naruto Bridge was the way for Wave to remember him. A single man can make the difference. Zabuza and Haku were indeed welcomed by the Hokage and the ninja of the village. But the situation between Sand and Rock was getting worse. The ninja of the Sand village had begun to look for something or someone, and there had been fights between the hidden Sand ninja and the hidden Rock ninja. The situation was not good. But how long till open war happened? Naruto was back home and asleep. When he awoke in what looked like a sewer, with pips on the sides, he simply walked towards the heavy sounds of breathing, until he came to a giant gate. The word seal was plastered on it, in the shape of an intricate lock. so my little jailer finally decides to come and greet me. You know you shouldn't keep the queen of the ninth circle waiting. Something bad could happen and I would not be there to keep you safe, my little Naruto, said a giant red-haired fox. He simple smiled. I've been busy, you know how it is. I get no rest. Madara's imprint appeared too. Well, since we are all here, why don't we get down to business? I still have something to teach my precious grandson. Madara pointed at Naruto. This was going to be a very interesting conversation. After 30 missions and a very heated competition, Naruto, Mikoto and Koji were all promoted to Chunin. Tsukumo Heikate was breathing easier to be sure. The time as a Jounin teacher had been difficult. If someone had told him that leading a team of genin was easy now, the only thing he could scream at that person would be liar. The missions that his team had become more and more dangerous. The situation between rock and sand was getting worse by the day. Minato, Kibito, and Kushina too passed. But unlike Tsukumo, the village was not happy to see this teacher no longer leading a team. Jiraiya having free time, it would mean that the women of the village could not enjoy the hot springs as much. But thanks to the Hokage ordering him to start recruiting possible spies in other villages and towns, he was kept busy. Orochimaru was doing great at his research. The cloning techniques were getting closer and closer to being able to copy an organ. It would not be much longer than a person did not have to fear losing an organ as a cause of them no longer being able to carry their ninja duties. The cure of the Migenu's Sharingan blindness was getting closer and closer. Naruto was training even harder. If the situation was bad with the imprint of his grandfather teaching him when he was asleep, now he had Kurama teaching her own style of Kenjutsu and demonic ninjutsu, Genjutsu and Taijutsu. If Naruto believed that Madara was a slave driver, he would be reconsidering his choice of words. Kurama had been what everyone pictured a demon would be. Endless torment and pain with little to no mercy. She knew her end would come soon. The time when Kushina used her own tailed beast mode. She knew that there could not be two nine-tails beasts at the same time in the same plane. She knew the fight between them would happen soon, and so she needed to train Naruto as much as she could. Her own survival was at stake. But this severe training was doing something horrible to the way Naruto was growing. He looked like he was aging faster than he should. His body had begun to grow faster, to accommodate his growing strength, chakra, and stamina. To everyone was funny how his clothes would not fit from one morning to the next, until one day his hellish training came to an end. Kurama had finished teaching him everything she wanted to teach him. If you looked at Naruto after his training and said that he was 5 years younger than Mikoto, you would not believe it. The training had caused him to look the same age as Mikoto. Mikoto was not unhappy about it one bit. If she felt that Naruto was cute before, she felt now that Naruto was right down handsome. She looked at his face, his muscles, those hard abs, the daydreams she would have about him, the blush on her face, and the many times she began acting like a lovesick girl were also increasing. Minato and Kushina were what people called in a solid relationship. The other students teased them that they sometimes behaved like an old married couple. Minato used to make comments to Naruto that he behaved like he was whipped. Naruto simply turned the argument on Minato and said if he was any different. That tended to stop the teasing from him for a little while. 2 years and the teams grew by leaps and bounds, and that was when the thing most people feared happened. Suna and IWA Ninja had begun fighting each other in the territories of the allies of Konoha. It appeared as if the Third World War was to begin. The Hokage, due to his duty to protect their allies, was forced to declare war. The Third World War begun with border disputes, but now there was no stopping it now. The Hokage decided to protect their allies by setting camps led by especially strong Jounin, Danzo, Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Suminazuka, and Tsukumo Heikate. These would lead their forces. Orochimaru only agreed because thanks to Naruto the last steps on his cloning treatment was coming to completion. Tsukumo of course asked that his own team be in the camp he chose to lead. He would lead the camp that was in the land between Suna and Konoha. The teams of people would live in small groups to minimize detection. As Mikoto and Naruto got up the morning of their deployment, they both gave a kiss to their parents. If there was something that Kagami hated was not being able to go instead of them. No parent liked to risk the lives of their own kids. Since his training, Kurama and Naruto had settled for would be called a scene almost like siblings. When he was alone, the demon fox would tease and make jokes at her bro, as she came to call him that. So bro, when are you finally going to show that you got a pair? Tell that chick you are so hot and bothered for that you love her already. It is pretty sad seeing my bro not being honest about his feelings. Naruto began to think and answer Kurama for the last 100th time. We are going to war. The last thing she needs is for me to distract her, or worse, I don't need a heartbreak by being told that she only considers me her brother. So drop it already and help me pick some clothes. Thanks to the way I trained, I had to end up wearing some of Dad's old clothes. Alright, you are no fun, Naruto. Let's get to the store. I don't imagine you want to look bad in front of your secret love interest. Naruto began to curse himself for ever linking his senses to the fox. She never let up. She kept dropping his annoying little remarks, and about wanting to be an aunt eventually. Give me a couple of nephews and nieces to spoil, she said. He simply need to remark that she was stuck inside him, and even if he did have kids, how would they see her? This often stopped the aunt business and started the depressed Kurama bit. He could never win. Kurama was always there, and always getting into things his sister would better leave alone. The stores looked like any regular shop in the Uchiha district. The one place he liked he had to never visit again. Fugaku had become a major stockholder in it. The condition was that as long as he was a stockholder, Naruto Uchiha would pay 300% more for anything. Hokage did not know about it, but the one store doing that he would have simply told him to shop somewhere else. He walked in front of what looked like a run-down building, but there was something in the air. The smell was something off about the building. Hey sis, am I going crazy or do you smell that? Kurama laughed. Bro, how can you not notice it? It has all the markings of a weak human genjutsu. I started getting the stench from a block away. A store hidden by a genjutsu. He walked into the building and slammed both hands on the ground. Genjutsu release. The shop interior changed into an incredibly well-organized shop, except that the customers wore all masks. Of all places I had to try and buy clothes that I end up in a shop for Ambu only. My teacher Sakuma would laugh his head off when he hears about this. Kurama was already laughing all 9 of her tails off. Young man, you are mistaken. This shop is available to anyone that can figure out the genjutsu, said a tough-looking hawk-masked Ambu. It only happens that only Ambu have done so far, said one of the shop clerks. He looked like a brawny tall man with blonde hair. So what can I help you with, Mr. Uchiha? He told him he would deploy to the war soon and he needed some new clothes and gear. He got 5 pairs of Ambu pants, Ambu-style shirts, steel-toed boots, headbands and fingerless gloves, all of course in black and with highlights in red. The flak jackets were the exception. One of the Lady Ambu joked that it looked like something a samurai would wear. The shop owner mentioned that indeed it had extra plating for the arms and abdomen. It was mostly red, and the highlights were black, with the Uchiha symbol on the right shoulder. It looked like a seal of some sort. The owner told him it was a cloaking seal. Activate it, and it would hide all his weapons from view. He paid the clerk for everything and was surprised by the fact that Tsukumo Heike was a major stockholder here. Oh great! How much more would I need to pay above the regular price? As all the Ambu began to laugh, our former commander is nothing like that bastard Fugaku. He became a major stockholder so we Ambu can buy things at a discount. I am sure he placed his own team on the list. The Hawk Ambu was right, he was on the list. Well sir, you mentioned needing gear, what would you like to get? Naruto smiled. I need a Katon Katana, 50 Futon Shuriken, 50 Futon Kunai, and 1 Futon Gunbai. Well, this was a major purchase and the owner knew that the total sale even with the discount was making his store a good profit. For shops like him, there was nothing better for business than a good war. The shop owner walked up to him. I am Makoro Namikaze. Sorry for the late introduction, and don't worry, everyone here knows who you are. Naruto, would you do me a favor? Naruto gave a nod. My son is going to be in the same camp as you are, so is my future daughter-in-law Kushina. I would like to stick close to him when you can and keep that knucklehead out of trouble. If he is alive, and his captain doesn't give me complaints, I will give you a special futon katana I've been making. Naruto simply told him it was a deal. He was going to back up his fellow leaf ninja anyways, as he got everything in a massive sack. The same cap-masked Lady Ambu tried to make fun of him. So how are you going to carry all this stuff home? You need any help? He simply looked at her and made it clear he did not, especially since 50 shadow clones appeared. We got it, boss. We will take the stuff and get it ready with the scrolls, see ya. All the Ambu, especially the cat Ambu, had not expected that. Shadow clones jutsu without hand signs or needed to call it out his orders. The same idea crossed the minds of every single person in the shop. Kami, I am sure glad this guy is on our side. The day was over, but not without getting dressed in his new clothes and walking outside to see if his family approved. For a second the Uchiha matriarch felt like Madara was in her house. She got close and saw the hair. Naruto, don't scare me like that. I swear if I didn't know any see your hair, I would think Madara Uchiha was back and still seeking revenge on the village. Naruto could not imagine his grandfather having such a vengeful mind. He simply asked if he looked good. If the blush on Mikoto's face was any indication, he did. She just got back from getting gear and weapons with her friend Kushina. She ran home, because she could no longer stand the teasing her friend had subjected her to. Honestly, if he made one more comment about when is she going to jump that hunk of hers, she would lose her mind. The very next day, they left towards the camp of someone Mikoto and Naruto both knew very well. But as they stopped for a brief rest, he got something from a storage scroll. Naruto gave her a beautifully detailed goodbye. She was so happy that she could not keep it in any longer and gave him a kiss on each of his cheeks. He had to hinge to hide his blushing face. If that face were any redder, we might have gotten spotted by the enemy, bro. Naruto ignored Kurama's comment. He was enjoying the memory of those kisses a lot. As Naruto, Koji and Mikoto reached the camp, he clearly saw that it was a collection of tents surrounded by stone's walls. The use of chakra was obvious on the walls. This camp was made using Earth-style jutsu. The three were greeted by Tsukumo Heikate, who was in charge of the camp. They both gave him a nice smile, and so did he, Captain Heikate, Naruto Uchiha, Mikoto Uchiha, and Koji Inuzuka reporting as order. Naruto told the smiling captain, "You need to relax, Naruto, you are working with me again. No need to be so formal." Naruto was about to argue that he was not being formal, just behaving in a disciplined way. But as the last word was said, the growl from the stomach of both the Inuzuka and his partner Nindog was heard. "Let me get this straight. Naruto pushed you three to get here in one day, when it usually would take a group 3 days? Right." Mikoto smiled. Naruto looked at the ground embarrassed, and Koji and his dog just looked upset. "Look, go and eat something, alright. If those stomachs sound any worse, the enemy will find us that much easier. We have to deal with Suna Ninja. They are experts in wind jutsu." Captain Heikate ordered the three. Mikoto simply told Naruto to come with her to a nearby wall. When he got there, he looked at 2 lunch boxes she had prepared the night before. "How about we eat together? I know you will love what I prepared." Koji was very much like his Nindog. They both loved meat, but in the climate they were at, it meant no fresh meats. So their meal was nothing more than jerky. Plain, unseasoned and dry jerky was not what most people would call a meal. But the Nindog and Ninja ate there with gusto. It was fairly quiet, and after the captain finished his meeting with the rest of the Jounin, he assigned Naruto and Koji a tent, and Mikoto could sleep with one of the medic kunoichi. Naruto was not too happy about it, but Mikoto simply joked that this way they would rest, and not be worried about giving in to their carnal instincts. This single comment made every ninja that heard it blush. Somewhere there was Fugaku throwing a kunai at a picture of Naruto for the 1000th time that day. It was 6 in the morning when Naruto felt something odd, and he immediately sent a dozen shadow clones where he felt something. In a matter of 10 minutes the memories returned. He went to Captain Heikate's tent and sounded the alarm. The entire camp was up in arms and ready when he saw his captain walk towards him and ask, "Is this a drill?" The serious look on Naruto's face was all the answer he needed. "How many and how far?" Naruto pointed at the direction. "400 sand ninja puppeteers and swords. They will be here in 40 minutes. Captain Heikate asked what was the delay. Naruto simply told him they were busy walking across his traps. Mikoto and Koji did not look at all happy to receive that kind of wake-up call, but as their captain explained, it was within proper protocol. The camp was ready and Heikate had come up with a plan. They would use ninjutsu on the blades first. If they managed to get near, they would switch to taijutsu and kenjutsu. For the puppets they do the same, except more ninjutsu heavy attacks. It would have worked, except that the swords attacked alongside the puppets. Naruto simply smiled. "Captain Heikate, mind if I take care of this and you and the rest enjoy the show?" Captain Heikate could not believe what he said. From anyone else it would be a clear overconfidence. He simply walked to a nearby wall and climbed on top. One of the Jounin asked what he was doing. He simply saw Naruto walk towards the enemy group that was walking towards them. Captain Heikate merely replied, "Getting a good seat for the show. What, you expect me to miss it?" Naruto simply stood there, and in a puff of smoke 500 shadow clones appeared. He didn't even need to give orders. The clones rushed the now stunned enemy. The battle was fierce. Between collaboration jutsu and kenjutsu attacks there was little the enemy could do. Where there had been 400 proud sand ninja marching towards certain victory, now stood a place covered in blood, broken puppets, and broken blades. The Jounin in camp could hardly believe it if they had not seen it themselves. Naruto had single-handedly killed 400 sand ninja, and he was not even breathing hard. Captain Heikate would have loved to see the face of the enemy camp leader. They too had tried to look at the battle from a safe distance. The scouts were sure that they would report their victory, but what they reported was something from their worst nightmares. A man dressed in black and red samurai armor had used ninjutsu and kenjutsu in the most horribly efficient way. He had alone killed their attack force. Lady Chio was not too happy to hear that some of the puppeteers were students she herself had taught. Nice show, Naruto, but maybe next time you let us have some exercise? Captain Heikate simply joked. Naruto only smiled. This was to test us. They will not make the same mistake again. So I hope some of you paid attention to the collaboration jutsu. They might be useful in the near future. Koji laughed at him. Naruto, if you are done acting like a professor giving a lecture, come on, help me see what we can salvage of the enemy while we still can. Naruto, Mikoto, and Koji went to where the bodies of the enemy were. They saw that they would need more people. Some of the Jounin and Chunin volunteered. It was the least they could do after what they saw. It was later that night that they realized that they had hit a mother lode. Some of the enemy must have been idiots, because they wrote their command structure, who was going where, and when they would get reinforcements. But the thing that struck him as even dumber was the location and layout of the enemy camp. Mikoto believed that it could be a trap, a simple case of misdirecting an enemy. Naruto, having sent a wolf specialized in scouting, believed otherwise. After the wolf told him what he was and what was there, he simply knew that that enemy was indeed that dumb or that confident in their troops. Captain Heikate decided to take 50 of their ninja, including both Uchiha and an Aburame. Shikaku Aburame was a very young Jounin compared to the rest, but he was only there to act as backup for Mikoto and Naruto. In a single attack they sent the enemy retreating. The sheer lose in their numbers made it impossible to hold that camp. Lady Chio was the only Jounin that survived, but she was wounded. Captain Heikate did not believe that it was over or that this was the only camp that the enemy had. It proved to be true. Those collaboration jutsu had saved 45 of the ninja that stayed behind, as the enemy also did a surprise attack. The force that had attacked lost 5 ninja when they did their surprise attack. They saw 105 dead bodies outside of the camp walls. Total, the enemy lost 900 ninja in 2 attacks. But they lost 10 out of the 100 ninja gathered in that camp. Tsukumo knew that they had other camps, and that these battles were far from over. He had requested reinforcements, but they would be there in 2 weeks. These were going to be the longest 2 weeks that they had ever lived.